Hey, my name's Chris, and in this video is going to be a review of 2022 and a look ahead at what I've got planned for 2023. Stick around. Okay, as I said up front in the intro, this is a little bit of a different style video. 2022 was a wild and crazy year for my family, and 2023 is shaping up to be a pretty exciting one too. So I know there's a lot of new subscribers out there, so I've kind of also been on a little bit of a content hiatus or whatever you want to call it. And so I feel I owe you an update from time to time on what's going on with me and why I'm not publishing a bunch of videos, and share a little bit of what I have planned moving forward so that you know what to expect as you're along for the ride as a subscriber. Okay, so every year, either the end of the calendar year or the beginning of the new calendar year, I like to review my personal and professional goals and then set some goals for the new year. I did that a little bit differently this year, and I did a little bit later in the year than I normally do. Kind of the end of January is when I took the time to do this. Our church typically does like a prayer and fasting 30 days in January. That's still ongoing, and that actually closes out here in the next week. But it's a time where I try to reset personally, professionally, and spiritually, and just kind of focus on where I'm at and where I should be prioritizing moving forward. So up front, 2022 was a roller coaster of an emotional year for us personally. We had our daughter and fourth child in the month of July. Um, just about a year ago in March, we learned that she was not expected to live. I got back from Iraq in the end of 2021, and we found out we were pregnant with her pretty early on. We waited until quite a ways in to get an ultrasound done, and we learned in the same ultrasound we learned that it was both a girl, and we have three boys. And so that was exciting and an answer to prayer. And then immediately following that, we learned that she had a major brain abnormality, and kind of the ultimate expectation of that was that she was not going to survive. And if she survived to birth, she was not expected to really do well outside the womb. So we kind of immediately just did the only thing we had to do, which was pray about it and give it up to God, and ask for as much prayer as we possibly could. And happy to share with you that she is healthy, and she is just over 6 months old. I'll share a picture of her with you. But I mean, we witnessed an absolute complete miracle, and I have no other words to describe it. This little girl was not expected to live, and she's healthy and happy, and progressing through all of her milestones as best as we can tell. We'll still be on eggshells for the foreseeable future with her, but as far as we know, she's perfectly healthy. All right, so obviously that's the most amazing news I could possibly have to share with you, but I also am not going to hold back on sharing things like that on this channel. It's been absolutely life-changing for us, and to see the absolute direct work of God in our lives was a huge blessing. So I just encourage you, if you're going through something, to pray about it, to ask for others to pray about it. It truly changes things, and I have no other way to describe what happened with our daughter other than a miracle, and just so happy and thankful every single day when we look at her smiling face for what happened. So in the year 2022, I only published 9 videos. I began the year with a CNC cut workbench project that I've planned literally for several years. I finally did the design work while I was deployed in 2021, and then came back and worked with my buddy Jeff, Sergeant Maker, to get that cut out. And then I spent the first few months of 2022 assembling that and documenting that. I have yet to publish that video series. At some point in time this year, I intend to get that edited and published. I'll throw a few snippets as I'm talking about it here for you to check out. Just over the course of the year, I've gotten to know several local woodworkers and cabinet makers a little bit better, and that's been an awesome experience. There's some really great people in the Clarksville area, and really got to just get to know some people and make some friends. And it's been refreshing. I haven't really poured into very many people moving around with the Army. And so it's kind of hard to make friends. Not that I don't have friends through the Army and through work, but just outside of work, really got some great people in our church that have become close friends. And ultimately, that led my wife and I to make a decision, a bit of a radical one. I'm choosing to leave the Army after what will be a little bit over 12 years of service and transition into a civilian career. That was a decision that was not made lightly. I realize I'm giving up something that's kind of rare these days, a pension. But ultimately, when I look at my 4 kids and my wife and what another 10 years in the Army would look like, it'll be a lot more significant time away from them. And just as I look at my priorities as a father and as a husband, it was ultimately the best decision for my career and my family. So not an easy decision to make, but one that we're very glad we did make. And I'll be a civilian officially the end of July this summer. So eager to face that unknown and uncertainty. My engineering degree doesn't do a whole lot for me, or hasn't done a whole lot for me in the Army, aside from the way that I solve problems. And then Army leadership is something that does translate well outside the Army. And then the last 3 years in the Army, I've spent developing a new profession as an acquisitions professional, a little bit of contracting, a little bit of program management, and a whole different side of the Army enterprise, just seeing how the Army solves problems through contracting. It's been fascinating to be a part of, and really satisfying to be a business advisor to some of the best units in the Army, and just help them solve their problems that they can't solve any other way. Anyhow, all that to say, I'm currently figuring out what my next phase is. At one point early in the year, I kind of attempted a partnership, a little bit of YouTube collab. It didn't quite work out, but that's okay. And so I moved on from that. After the CNC workbench and that attempt, I decided to launch the miter saw dust collection project. I've been putting it off since about 2018, from the inception of that design, but finally went ahead and launched it. Was motivated to do so by some competition. And so that's really been my main effort as far as the business side of things, basically from the end of April or May through now. So I'm continuing to work through designs with my good buddy Matt, and getting those printed and onto your saws out there. So I appreciate those that have decided to spend some of your hard-earned money with our products. And we're continuing to refine them, getting feedback every day, and trying to improve those designs and launch new ones for you. So keep your eyes out if you're expecting a new design for your miter saw, and hope to deliver on that in the next year. And we are prioritizing based on demand is ultimately how we're making those decisions. Yeah, so as part of my transition from the Army and everything else that's going on, we decided to buy a house in Clarksville, Tennessee, so just northwest of Nashville. And we're going to settle here for the foreseeable future. So we decided to look at houses, find something that suits our needs a little bit better. And yeah, we pulled the trigger on that. And so in the next month and a half, we're going to be moving. So the clutter that you see all around me is all going to get packed up. And I'll have you along for the ride as I move and establish a new shop. Happy to say that it will have some shop and office space on the property. And I'll throw a picture of that up here so you can take a look at that. But very excited for what that means, both personally, professionally, and family-wise. So you'll, of course, be along for the ride for that. And then I do have a couple secret projects in the works that I can't really share about, but I am developing them and moving them forward. Trying to get my engineering design and project management skills dusted off and greased up for the next phase of my career, and we'll see what that looks like. I'm not going self-employed anytime soon, although that's very tempting. I've got a few different options I'm weighing out right now for employment, but we have decided to settle in this area. And so I'm kind of limiting my job search to the immediate area. I'm about to be an intern. So the Army's got a really cool program for those that are on your final orders to get out. And I'm about to be an intern for about just under 3 months for a company called Clever. It's an affiliated company with Tested HQ. Eager to work for Austin and Michael, and grateful for that opportunity. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of research with Izzy Swan on a couple projects that he's got going on. So I'm excited to kind of be an intern, throw in the learning hat for a while and just see how I can add value to those businesses and soak in all the knowledge I can. I will publish the CNC workbench video series, and I will continue to refine those plans and things. That's a project, like I said, it's been years in the making. I'm so glad to have this new workbench. It's made my workflow a lot more efficient. So I don't know how to describe this. One of the weirder things that happened at the end of the year was having to move the machines out of my dad's old shop. It's something that he dreamed about and worked toward for his whole 33-year teaching career. And then he finally retired, and he established a dream shop with all the machine capabilities that he'd always dreamed about. And he left those to me when he passed. And so it was my responsibility to get those things moved and into storage in Pennsylvania, where I grew up. And looking ahead to where we're going next, probably be able to integrate those machines and get them hooked up and into operation. It's a little bit bittersweet because my family's still in Pennsylvania, and obviously those machines and that equipment and the time spent with him making things is something that every member of my family has fond memories of. And so you know, it's kind of a weird responsibility to have to take custody of those, and obviously I'll cherish that and put that to good use. But it's a little bit of an awkward feeling to bring them all the way from Pennsylvania down to Tennessee. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to it, and it's something that yeah, it's just a weird thing. Okay, so as far as business-wise, design and getting new parts made for different miter saws, that's going to continue to be my #1 priority, business-wise, and content will take a backseat to that. So any of my previously recorded content with the CNC workbench, I will continue to edit that and publish it as I'm able. I'll release that in a video series and a playlist in case that's something you want to follow along with. I'll also continue. I've got a couple videos planned around this, the dust collection that I need to get out, and you can look for them in the very near future. But in the interim, one of the things I really want to integrate is some shop tour videos. There's a lot of great woodworkers in this area, and I would really like to stop by and interview them and talk about their processes and what their passions are, and then, you know, take a look at the way that they manage their workflow from material storage through their process, whatever it is. I always learn a lot from shop tours, and I would like to share a little bit more of that and just kind of my perspective on different people's shops on this channel. So you can probably look forward to a little bit more of that. Those videos are relatively easy to produce, so they're somewhat of an easy lift, and I can help you learn and see a whole lot of perspectives of different people in a relatively short amount of time. So really that's what to expect. I've been a little bit more long-winded than I had originally planned on here, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's a little bit more about what you can expect in the next year. And until next time, I'll see you then. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new here, I'm going to throw a subscribe button right above me. Feel free to click it if this is something you're interested in. I'll have lots more videos like it. I'm going to put a couple videos over here to my right that I think you'll enjoy. Feel free to check them out. If you found some value in this video, hit the thumbs up button. That helps this video do a little bit better. So do your comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this video or your tips that go along with it. Thanks again for watching all the way to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.